Today we're going to be taking a look at an oft-injured athlete that recently retired, whom had a run during the mid to early 2010s, and was the mainstay for his organization. Although he was an afterthought in a blockbuster trade that sent one team to the postseason that same year, while the other it allowed to hit the reset button for years of competitive and postseason baseball to come. To most Cleveland fans, Michael Brantley was an above-average outfielder with a solid bat in the front of the order. To me, though, he will always be the player to be named later. When we look at trades, sometimes we will see the designation PTBNL, which means player to be named later. While this is usually just an addition that ends up being a career minor leaguer, or in rare circumstances, they end up getting traded back for themselves. Don't ask me how that all works, as I am most certainly not an expert on said matters, as it has only happened a few times throughout baseball's history. But today's topic was the last piece of the CC Sabathia trade that involved Matt Laporta, one of the Brewers' top prospects who was supposed to be an absolutely masher at the plate. Zach Jackson, a serviceable at best minor leaguer or quadruple A leaguer. Left-handed pitcher Rob Brinson, who was a late round pick by the Brewers, who was looking to have some potential if he had the right development. And lastly, Brantley himself. Michael Brantley was a 7th round pick out of Fort Pierce Central High School in Florida in 2005 by the Milwaukee Brewers, where he signed for $150,000. He was in the same draft class as Ryan Braun, whom the Brewers selected 5th overall. Brantley spent the summer at both rookie ball teams for the Brewers, where he hit .343, .426, and .377 with 0 homers in 54 games. However, he must have really caught the scouts' eyes, as he was promoted to Single A the next year, followed by a Double A the year after that, where he continued to hit 300 plus. However, the power was still not where it needed to be, and he wasn't seen as a top 10 prospect in the Brewers organization. This could be because of the lack of power, but it also could be because 7 of the top 10 prospects in their organization did eventually make the major leagues. On July 7, 2008, the Brewers would trade for CC Sabathia. However, Michael Brantley would not be traded until October 3rd that same year, as he was the player to be named later. He would start the '09 season in the minors before being called up during the season, where he had a run of 28 games where he hit .313, .358, and .348. Once again, failing to hit any home runs in this short stretch. All over the next 2 seasons, however, Brantley seemed to be facing the reality of major league pitching, as he only hit .258, and his OBP was still around .310. However, he did find more power in his bat, netting him 10 home runs and slugging near .360. He continued to find success over the next few years and was one of the key pieces in the young team becoming successful again. He started to hit like before for average, and started to get on a base at a good clip of .330 plus, as well as finding his home run swing that he needed to add to the young offense. In 2014, he was the face of the team, hitting .327, .385, and .506 slugging, hitting in 20 home runs, knocking in 97, and stealing 23 bases with only being caught once. He was an all-star, won a Silver Slugger, and finished 3rd in MVP voting, behind the likes of Mike Trout and Victor Martinez. Unfortunately, this would not be a building block in his young career at this time, as he would turn a new leaf and start seeing some major injuries. Unfortunately, this would be his best full career season. From 2015 to 2017, Brantley only played in 248 out of 486 possible games due to a slew of injuries, many of which cost him a chance to be a part of the 2016 team that made it all the way to the World Series, where they lost to the Chicago Cubs. In 2017, he looked to be back from injury, as he was an all-star before the injury cut his season short. He was hitting .299, .357 with a .444 slugging with 9 homers, 52 runs batted in, 11 steals, and all this just in 90 games. While this is my opinion, and I don't think he would have been an MVP per se, as this was a legendary race here, please look it up. There's been a lot of great YouTube videos on this. In my opinion, he was at worst on track for top 10 consideration. He spent one more year as an all-star in Cleveland before entering free agency and joining the Astros. In 2019, he once again had an all-star season with Houston, batting .311, .372, and .502 for slugging, with a career high of 22 home runs, 90 runs batted in, and he was a part of the World Series team where he hit .321, a .406 OBP, and .321 slugging. He drove in 2 runs, however, his team did come up short as they lost to the legendary Nationals team that season. As for the next few years, he once again was hit with the injury bug, and when he was on the field, he was always producing and played well. even including the shortened 2020 season. In 2021, he played in the World Series versus the Braves, where the Astros fell short once again, and he retired at the end of the 2023 season, ending his 15-year career with 129 home runs, 720 runs batted in, and he batted .295, .351, and .430 overall, with a career WAR of 34.3, as well as 5 All-Stars and a lone Silver Slugger. All of this to say, though, isn't bad for a player to be named later, and while it may not have landed him in Cooperstown, the fans in Cleveland and Houston watch one of the best bats each and every day he was able to play. The big question for me is, what if he had stayed healthy in his prime and had not had so many major injuries? Could he have been in the conversation for Hall of Fame? Probably not. But he was 350 hits away from 2,000, 52 doubles away from 400, which would put him in the top 200 all time. Yeah, the home runs and steals weren't there, but he got on base with the bat as well as having great discipline at the plate. And maybe he gets 2 more All-Star appearances, probably another Silver Slugger. Hell, maybe he has 1 or 2 more MVP consideration seasons. What do you think is possible? Thanks for watching, and if you've made it this far, please leave a comment on what you think are some other ideas for players that you would like me to touch base on in another video. Thanks for watching.